This is maybe the coolest sound I've ever heard in my life, man. I love this sound here. So a couple things, just to fill in a couple things here. You were moving down, once you hit that G7 and that melody was moving down the G pentatonic or the G mixolydian scale there. Would you mind showing us the exact voicings you were using while you were moving down the G7?
Absolutely. I was basically, well, I'm not doing anything. I'm just telling you what Ray Charles did. But Ray is keeping the basic sound of the chord underneath that melody. The melody, if you remember, was kind of a mixture of pentatonic and mixolydian. And it's all G7. And what's happening there is Ray is using tensions where he can, always making sure that he has the third and the seventh in the chord. And so the first voicing is 7, 9, 3, 13. So when he goes down to the next note, he keeps the same notes underneath because he doesn't have to move anything, so he might as well keep the 7, the 9, and the 3 under both of those notes. Now when he comes down to the B, he has to have a different voicing because now his whole hand is going down and B is on top. So he just plays a straight G7 there. You might wonder, why doesn't he put a 9 in instead? The reason for that is a lot of times if you have the top of the chord have a second, the interval of a second on top, it obscures the melody. It's not really that bad, but Ray goes with the root there. It sounds a little clearer. Then when he is going to the next note, he has to move his hand again because that doesn't sound very good. So he moves his whole hand and he picks up the third, the fifth, and the seventh of the G while the melody is the ninth. When he gets to the G is when he decides to make it augmented. And so what you're hearing, once again, the third and seventh are there because they really need to be. Instead of the fifth under the root, he's going from the fifth because he was here before. You with a fifth to an augmented fifth or a flat 13, however you choose to think of it. It's the same note, the E flat. And then the final note of that chord is F, and he just leaves the same notes underneath it. The F is the seventh, the B is the third, so he still has the full chord. So the whole thing going to the C major 7. As you can see, one thing that's really important to practice if you're going to play double lead is you have to really have